Hello, hello, and welcome to the Soul Indulgence Show. I'm your host, Lauren Drake, and I am here today to talk about living in your purpose in 2021. Now, there's a couple things that I want to talk about, but the very first thing is I want to know if you have any idea what's going on astrologically right now. It is crazy significant. So if you're aware of the stars or you're curious about the stars, give me a star emoji or something of the sort that you can find. Post it below. So what I want to talk about is the great conjunction with Jupiter and Saturn that's happening tomorrow. So people are talking about it as if it's a Christmas star, that the planets are going to be so close in the sky that they may look like one huge star. But they're actually supposed to be, if we put our pinky out there, the pinky will block both of the stars or both of the planets from our view. They're going to be that close together. And this is really significant for a number of reasons. Now, before I jump into what those reasons are, I want to just take a step back and appreciate, that we are influenced by the planets. Even looking at the earth, right? And the tides and the water, like these are influenced by the moon, right? The cycles of the moon influence the tides. The cycles of the moon influence the water in our bodies, right? That's why we know when people are acting all crazy on the full moons, right? Because the full moon has this greater influence, right, on the water that's within our bodies. So the same is true with the planets and the stars and the way that they're aligning. Now, when we look at the whole solar system, many people know, most people I'd say know probably what their sun astrological sign is. So at the time of their birth, where the sun was in the sky. And some people may even know where their moon sign is, right? And both of those signs influence us very individually. The farther away from Earth we go to the outer planets, and that's what we're talking about right now, Jupiter and Saturn are both huge planets and they're very far away from us. So their influence isn't about us individually, it's about society as a whole. And so because they're so much farther away, their orbit takes so much longer. Like Saturn's orbit takes about 30 years, right? For it to come back to the same place in the sky. So this is about like generational time. So Jupiter and Saturn roughly every 20 years conjunct. But what they're about to do, as close as they are, and in the sign of Aquarius, they haven't done for over 800 years. So the last time this happened was the start of the Renaissance. So if we think about the Renaissance, right, it was a flourishing, right, a time of just immense expression and creativity and creation, right? And that, my friends, thank goodness, is a time that we're about to enter into. So it's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow is the pinnacle of it, which is really significant because it's the winter solstice for us in the northern hemisphere, and it's the summer solstice for those of us in the southern hemisphere. So it's this time of huge change for us in the northern hemisphere. It's the longest night, right? And then from there, the days begin to get longer. So it's this time of rebirth, right? A time of renewal, a time of allowing things to move through us. And so when we think about these planets specifically, when we're talking about Jupiter, Jupiter is about expansion and optimism. It's about healing. It's about growth. And Saturn is about restriction and responsibility, and it's about long-term lessons. And so when these pair, right, this is the momentum, this is the energy that has the capacity to not just change our individual lives, but to change our whole social structure. And that's what we've been leading up to, right? To think about 2020, like all of this stuff that has come out is like begging us for a new way of being. It's begging us for a new life for all of us. as a whole, right? Like our whole structure, we're realizing the established, systems that have been in place that just need to go. We need to cleanse ourselves from the things that no longer serve us, that no longer serve all of us, right? These systems that don't allow everyone to have equitable access, to services and to resources, and allow everyone to move into their fullest expression of themselves. And so when we think about these two signs meeting, they're also meeting in Aquarius. And this is really important because Aquarius is about innovation, it's about humanitarianism, it's about new ideas, and it's also an air sign. And air signs are about being communicative and being intellectual and being idealistic, right? And so it's really about using all of these things to happen, and to know that starting now for the next 200 years, whenever Jupiter and Saturn align, it's going to happen in an air sign. So we really are at the precipice of a completely new system. So I ask you, when we think about that, right, and you think about we're about to step into 2021, Lord knows 2020 has been full of heartache for most of us, so what is it that you want, right? When we're thinking about this, like the planets are literally aligning for things to change. So when you think about the change that you want, whether that's in your individual life or that's a collective whole for our society, what changes do you want to see? So this is the first tenet that I'm talking about today. When we're talking about living in our purpose in 2021, we need to really be thinking about how we're all connected. We're connected to the stars. We're energetically connected to this field around us. These planets are aligning, right? They're aligning right now with this power, right? Which will influence us. So this is the first tenet, right? To remember that you are being influenced, right? That we are all connected. You are being acted upon, right? There is something inside of you that is speaking up, I bet, and asking for more. So what is it? Trusting that is a thing that's being called forth from you. And the second part of this is that 2020 has been fucking hard, right? It has been exhausting. It has been challenging. It has been grueling in many, many ways. It has brought out some very, very difficult moments for many people, and some people have been able to pull through those, and some people are still mired in them. And so when I think about 2021, I don't think we have a lot of space for it to be hard. I don't. I think that we are tapped out. I think if 2021 were about to deliver us hard, that would be so defeating and deplete the vast majority of people. So what I think we're being asked to do is to step into alignment. We're being asked to shed the things that don't serve us, to shed the layers and the weight that we've been carrying around. And we're being asked to step into our aligned divine purpose, right? Like, what exactly are you called to do? Because when you align with that purpose, it isn't hard, right? Sure, there's challenges. Sure, there's struggles, right, that are going to come up, but you don't have to force it, right? This year has been a very forced year for us, right? Even I think like forced quarantine, forced, missing our friends and family, right? And right, we get to have a new fresh start, right? Even starting tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is a winter solstice. Starting tomorrow, things can shift for us. Starting tomorrow, things can start to feel lighter and more expansive, and we can feel this isn't like you have to take this action on your own. You are aligned with the universe. You are aligned. If you allow yourself to be, you are aligned with the divine inside, and that can compel you, right? And so that's the second tenet, right? That we don't have capacity for hard right now. We need to find the way that things can move through us. The third tenet I want to talk about. So number one, we're all connected. The stars, the planets, they're aligning for us right now. Number 2, we don't have a lot of space for hard. Number 3, you're being asked to give. You're being asked to give of yourself. You're being asked to give of your story. You're being asked to stop hiding. When we think about 2020, some of the behaviors that have been pulled out, right, are these very primal, like hoarding, right? Very survival, very just focused on the next thing, which has been necessary for many of us, right, to survive. And as we move into this new space, we're being asked to give. We're being asked to give of ourselves. We're being asked to give of our story. We're being asked to give of our message. We're being asked to step out of the closet, right? We're being asked to step out of hiding. And I'm not talking about quarantine restrictions. Like, we're still in that space, right? Absolutely. And we need to get through this, right? And we will, right? By just, staying the course, right? In terms of what our governments are asking us to do. And just making it through until the vaccines have made it around and we finally know officially that it's safe from medical doctors, that it's safe for us to be out. But in the meantime, we're being asked to not hold back on our message anymore. We're being asked to give of ourselves and our callings, right? Our vision for the world. If all of us just hunker down right now and hit our visions from the world, what chance does the world have of evolving, right? It needs us. It needs us to lead it, right? The stars are saying it's aligned. What would you have change right now? What new renaissance do you want to start right now? What new calling is on your heart that you want to see come into fruition in the world? Because that, my friend, that is the thing that the world needs of you. The world needs you to speak up. The world needs you to give voice to the ideas that are on your heart, whether they're about specific businesses for you, or they're ideas that our government should work, or they're ideas that we can come together and support one another in a true, open, equitable society. Like, what are the things that you are called to ask for? Even if you don't know how to create them, you asking for them is you speaking your message to the collective vision. And we need you. We don't want this new world to just be created by the leaders who have created the last world, right? That doesn't serve us anymore. This is a time of renewal, which means that we need new voices, we need new messages, we need you. So if you want to live in your purpose in 2021, then this is about you accessing the thing, the vision that you are called to share and sharing it. And if you know what that vision is, speak it here. If you don't know what that vision is, shoot me a message. If you know what that vision is and you're not quite sure what to do with it, let's chat. Let's see what that process would be like to allow you to learn to give voice to the vision that is on your heart. So I'll end for today. Thanks for watching with me, and I'll see you next week. Have a very happy holiday season, and I hope you get to see the big conjunction tomorrow night. Bye now.